Yes, yes, yes. And the debris comes up and over. Yeah, it's a mess.
We'll go ahead and get started. I just wanted to welcome everyone tonight, and really happy that you showed up and here to spend your time and listen to, very little talking tonight. Most of us going to stations and seeing what we're doing, and we really want your input. We want to know what you support, what you don't support, and what you would like to see so that we can move forward with this bond issue. We've got around $210 million that we're hoping to fund on this without raising taxes. That's the important part, is we're not going to raise taxes. We're going to, as bonds roll off, we're going to fund new bonds. But we have $281 million in projects on the list. So we're going to have to see what is important to everyone and what isn't as important, so we know what to fund. So I'm just going to turn this over and let the rest of the council say a few words.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. We always have a debate amongst ourselves as to how many people will come to these. And in the last several years, we've seen an increased level of involvement from the citizens, and that's so exciting because we see people who actually care. And this is your chance to play a vital role in your government and in the future of your city. As the mayor said, we have a series of things we'd like to do, and then we have the reality of what we can afford to do. And so you get to play a role tonight in shaping what the future of Broken Arrow looks like, with whether that be with the street improvements that we need to make, whether that be with quality of life improvements and parks and public safety. This is your chance to play that important role in shaping Broken Arrow's future for the next 5, 10, 15 years. So thank you for being here. We will be around to answer questions because this is your night to participate in the future of your city. Thank you.
I too would like to thank you for coming out tonight. You know, as a lifelong resident of Broken Arrow and now entering my 12th year on the council, I've seen this city grow, as well as Councilman Parks and Councilor Wimpy, who all grew up here. We've seen this town grow from about 7,000 when I was in high school to now nearly 115,000. I think for myself, I think we owe a debt of gratitude to those councils in the past and the citizens in the past that passed those bond issues that got us to where we are today. But likewise, we owe something to the council and the citizens of the future to shape how this city will grow into the future. And that's kind of what we're doing tonight, is planning for how Broken Arrow will be next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. So it's important that we seek your input on what you want Broken Arrow to be going forward. And I think with your help, we can get there, and we appreciate you being here tonight.
I too welcome you. Krista told me not to ramble, so I'll not do that. She said, don't start talking about fishing or where you've been lately. So if you want to know that, we can ramble later on. Holler at me. I agree with what's being said so far. I think it's very important that we recognize that most of us here probably own our own homes, we own our own car, and if we don't take care of them, then they get in disrepair. You actually can lose your property values if you don't take care of your homes. And that's the way I view this bond issue. And I've been through a lot of these GO bond issues, and this is about the only way we have of funding the items that we have on there is through a GO bond issue. That's why we want to make it exactly what you want your input, and build on what's been in the past. I can remember on a council years ago, we went with the intersections at 81st and 71st and Aspen. For Councilman Lester, that's 145th. And we designed the intersections, and the state was going to match monies with us. So they came in and said, yes, and we're talking about many thousands of dollars, but you can't build it for the future. You have to build it for today. And that council that I was on then voted no. We didn't accept any money from them. We built the intersection the way you see it today so that roads can tie onto it. And keep in mind, the state government now and the federal government's not going to come in and give us money. They're not going to come in and do our repair. So it's important that this bond issue pass and it's that we have the right bond issue before you, and that's what we're asking you for. What is that right bond issue? I didn't ramble.
You did very good. I again welcome you guys here. I'm going to be talking about kind of just the importance of the citizens getting involved and giving their input. This is my first bond issue to go through, so it's kind of exciting to see how the process works. Our city's, a little over 60 square miles, and of course, one general bond issue cannot cover all of the projects that need to be taken care of, but with the correct input from everyone, we can try to make as much as possible taken care of in that project. I just think that everybody coming in and making sure that we get your input and we hear what your priorities are in the city is very important, and because it is your city, and so it's your money to be spent, so we need your input. So thank you for coming.
Okay, good evening, folks. My name is Michael Spurgeon, and I have the privilege of serving as Broken Arrow City Manager. I want to thank our Mayor and Council for opening up tonight's forum with their comments and their thoughts on the past, the present, and the future of our community. And I want to start off tonight by basically saying that last October, many of you may have heard that USA Today named Broken Arrow the 29th most livable city in America. There were only... Edmond was 35th. So now, you don't have to look any further than the person sitting next to you to realize why we're the 29th most livable city in America. It's raining outside, it's nasty, but yet look at all the people that are here. And that just tells the council and myself that there's a true commitment to find out what's going on, and secondly, to make sure your voice is heard. As Councilmember Wimpy said, it's your tax dollars. And so I'm very pleased to see everyone here. I do want to say that all the department directors are here this evening, along with members of their staff, to answer your questions. And so what I'd like to do right now is just make a few comments, and then we're going to go on out into the meat and potatoes of the presentation or the forum tonight, is to hear from you. This is our future, and I think the first thing to start off with is just let everybody know, because as Councilmember Wimpy mentioned, this is her first general obligation bond package. For many of the other council members, this is their first or second, and some have been around for a number. What is a general bond obligation? And there's a small PowerPoint presentation I think everybody can follow along. GO bonds are municipal bonds used to fund public works projects. As Councilmember Parks said, that the cost of the projects that are being considered in the package are extremely expensive. And as you will see, for example, when you start talking about widening a road from 2 lanes to 5 lanes for 1 mile, the cost to do that road without any type of stormwater improvement, for example, a bridge, is around $5 million. If you go from 2 lanes to 3 lanes, you get into the $3 to $4 million range. To put down natural turf for a soccer field or a football field like we have in the previous bond, that's about $1 million for that turf, for example. And I make those points only because while the city does have some revenue to do street maintenance and to pay for operations, the amount of money that it takes to maintain the infrastructure of a community that's our size, it's extremely expensive. And so I hope, if you haven't already, is out at the table, there is a package of information right here that gives you a complete listing of all the projects that are under consideration. So if you have not picked one up, please do so and take it with you. And if you have time to study, and the reason we're using a larger room is give folks time to spread out a little bit, to look through the package, and then go ask your questions. The second thing I want to mention, which is obviously the most important thing, is the mayor and council said we're going to present this package to the council, and it's not going to be a tax increase. Okay? The current levy on your property taxes for the repayment of bonds, just like the repayment of the mortgage on your homes or your cars, is 16.46 mils. And the council said, they told the city manager, we want you to build a package for the voters to consider that it's not an increase in your taxes. So how are we going to do that? Well, it's 2 ways. Number one is we have issued bonds previously. Usually it's around 10 to 20 years. Those bonds roll off. And when those bonds roll off, it presents capacity. in terms of dollars that can be spent for future debt service. And secondly, the assessed value of the community grows. Right now, our assessed value is approximately $800 million. We're anticipating a 3.5% to 3.75% growth in our capacity over the next 10 years. So the combination of bonds rolling off and the fact that we're a growing community gives us the ability to issue over 10 years up to $210 million worth of bonds for the projects that the voters approve. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. The focus of the package is going to be, basically, it's just the meat and potatoes. That's what you have to do, is take care of your infrastructure. Streets. Now, I can't tell you what's going to be in the package and what the council is going to decide. What I can tell you is this, is we have streets in our town that everybody here would agree with are what I call overcapacity. And so whether it's council goes for the whole $210 million or something less, this package will be heavily laden with street improvements. Not only street improvements in terms of widening roads, but also the council said we want to make sure that we put money in there for the maintenance of the streets in the existing neighborhoods. And you will see that in the proposal, there is $30 million that's up for consideration to do repairs within the existing neighborhoods within our community. Secondly, one of the main reasons why we're the 29th most livable city in America is because of public safety. You will see projects for both the fire department and the police department to maintain that level of quality of life. Next, you're going to see parks, playgrounds, and equipment. And these are improvements the council would like for you to consider that are all over the community. And they made sure it's very clear. Let's make sure that we're trying to do improvements in all of our community. Facilities, we're looking at, for example, an annex to the senior center. We're also looking at possibly building a Veterans Memorial meeting building somewhere near Veterans Memorial Park in the downtown. There's also a couple of other facilities such as the museum, the potential for a rose garden, and also the possible expansion of the Creative Arts Center. Those folks are here this evening to answer your questions about their projects. Now, I will tell you is that there are also other initiatives that are under consideration, such as the possibility of infrastructure for an innovation district, which is extremely important for creating or continuing to create quality jobs within our city. There's also other sports-related improvements that could basically bring more tourists, more visitors, and more job opportunities to our city as well. Finally, there's going to be improvements for stormwater. Obviously, there's areas of town that there are flooding issues, and we need to address those issues. And so there's a package of around $8 million that's being proposed for stormwater projects. So you will see all this when you look through the handout and you get a chance to talk to the directors. As I mentioned earlier, and as mentioned by the council members, Broken Arrow has a history of supporting general bond obligations. For example, the city council put before the voters packages in 2008, 2011, and 2014. The value of those three packages was $145 to $150 million. That's what the voters approved. Those went for other street improvements, other park improvements, stormwater, and so forth. So this package has the potential to be larger than the last three packages altogether. And why is that? Because capacity and debt service and the growth of the community. So it's a very exciting opportunity for us to look at this package very holistically to say, what can we be 10 years from now? What about our road widenings, our stormwater, our parks, our buildings, and so forth? I would say this is that we are the fourth largest city technically in the state of Oklahoma. When Norman's not in session, we're third. Okay, so you can tell it's not going to stop anytime soon, folks. We issued over 525 new home building permits last year, and we're anticipating the same number of new home starts in the next 5 years. And so it's very important to focus on making sure that we have the infrastructure to take care of everybody that's in this room right now and to accommodate those people that want to be in one of the best cities in the country to live in. Now, here's the big question. How did the package get prepared? Okay, the first thing I want everybody to know is this. The City Council has not said yes to any project. This is still an open book. How we got to $280 million is really a combination of three things. First, the department directors last April or May were asked to give me their proverbial wish list for projects for the next 5, 7, and 10 years, and they provided it to me last summer. Secondly, we did a survey of our citizens last fall where we had over 2,500 households, not individuals, households, because you can only submit one per household, responded to the survey, and we asked them questions about how we're doing and what they thought the priorities are. And those projects, generally speaking, that they said were important, we have included in the package. For example, there were hundreds of comments about the roads east and west, 81st, 91st need to be widened. There were comments about we need better signalization of our traffic signals. There were comments about we need to improve stormwater in certain areas. Staff was trying to be foresightful, had a lot of those projects in there. There were several projects that the residents suggested that we include in the package. Third, the council members have been around a while, and they made suggestions, and they were included in there as well. That's how we came up with the $280 million. What's really cool about it is that nothing's been etched in stone. I can tell you is that after the 3 public forums that we're going to have tonight, and then again next Monday night and next Tuesday night, then the staff has the painstaking process of spending about 40 days paring down that $280 million to under $210 million, and where our intention is to present to the City Council sometime in late April or early May for their discussion what projects we believe should be in there, and then they will debate it. We'll have an open, transparent process. They will make a decision, and then they have to pass an ordinance and a resolution calling for the election and naming the projects in the packages by early June. And time goes quickly. So that's why we're going to make sure that we get these forms out of the way, and then we're going to start the vetting process. Now, this isn't the only opportunity you're going to have to give the council your opinion. The contact information has been included for your council members, so you're more than welcome to speak to them tonight. They're going to try to stay in this area a little bit, but they'll be walking around. If something is important to you, you need to tell them, because they're going to turn around and tell staff, and so we can look at what the priorities are, and then we'll go from there. The survey results, just quickly. There was a broad satisfaction of most city services. Infrastructure projects are supported by more than 90% of the community. So we're very excited that the projects that we put in there, the survey shows that the community supports them as well. We also understand that the community has a strong support for public safety. In the package, for example, there are proposed the replacement of 2 fire stations. Some of our fire stations have are close to reaching their useful life. And the fact that we're growing, we need to strategically look at our growth and making sure that we can maintain that 4 to 5 minute response time for our police and emergency. There's also some funds in there to help the police department as well. Okay, real quickly, the goals of the public input. Number 1, council wants to hear from you. The bottom line is we need to hear from the community. And secondly, is to start narrowing down the project list to under $210 million. And believe me, I do not envy the council members having to do that, because there are so many worthwhile projects in this package. It's going to be difficult to cut $70 million out of this project list. It's exciting though, because it demonstrates the type of demand that we have to maintain the quality of life for such an awesome community that we live in. So once again, input is extremely important. The format tonight is really very simple. The council did not want to stand up here and do a 45 or an hour-minute PowerPoint presentation. They wanted to hear from you directly. So all the directors are here. There are stations that are set up outside, and each of those stations is set up for street maintenance, road projects, parks, stormwater, and the community organizations that would like to have something included in the bond. What we would like for you to consider doing is travel to the different stations after you've had a chance to take a look at the information about the package, and then go talk to the department directors that are here and find out more about those projects. For example, I've heard tonight that they think the senior center annex proposal, the building needs to be larger. Well, you need to talk to the folks that Mr. Esmond, for example, of Parks. He'll write that down, and we'll present that to the City Council. You also have your 5 elected officials here. So once again, basically beat them up, folks. I mean, they're here to listen to you, not physically, or you know. Yeah, we have security here. Where's the chief of police? I got the chief and the deputy chief here. Okay. So, but here, they need to hear from you. Stop by each station, talk to the council members. If you want to come out to another session because you'd like to hear what the other people from the community have to say, you're more than welcome. There's nothing keeping you coming to Battle Creek Golf Club, or nothing to come out to Forest Ridge. We tried to make it strategic till it would be convenient for everybody, but you're more than welcome to come out to the other stations. We're going to have Post-it notes. We're going to keep this real simple. If you like something or don't like something, write it down on the Post-it note. We're going to tabulate all those results. Once again, I can't overemphasize the importance of community input, because we have a very monumental task of coming up with a priority list that we will present to the City Council, and then they will have to make the decisions of what ends up in the package. Real quickly, just so that everybody know, the vote tentatively scheduled, and the council hasn't passed a resolution for this, but the council said the vote is going to be on August 28th. August 28th, 2018. When we voted back in 2014, the vote was also in August. So there will be, once council decides what's going to be in the package, the city cannot tell you or ask you to vote yes or no. All we can do is provide you with the public information about what's in the package. There will be a group of individuals, a group that will actually focus on getting support from the community. But once the package is approved, then all the city can do is basically say, here's what's being voted on, and explain to you why that was included in the package. Okay, covered that. Here's an important slide I'd like for everybody to focus in on. It's called Package Overview, and I talked a little bit about capacity for bonding. What you have there is the fiscal year package, and it starts off with the first year of 2019 and runs all the way through 2028. To the right of that is the amount. Based on our capacity to keep it a no tax increase, the column to the right with the amounts in it is how much that we could borrow in that given year to do projects. So as you can see, it's not level because we have bonds rolling off, and so we have to take that into consideration. So for example, in 2019, we'll be finishing off the 2014 package of about $8 or $9 million, so we could borrow another 7.6 to do projects. Then in year 2 or 2020, it would be almost 21 million, then 16.5 all the way down to where there's a couple really large years in 2023 and 2024. What the numbers are in red is this. If the city was to do a 5-year package, the amount that the council could ask the voters to consider would be $92,100,000. If they said it was going to be a 7-year package, they could do $145 million, and if we do a full 10-year package, it could be $210 million. So that's not only do the council have to decide what projects they're going to do and the monies that correspond with them, they have to decide how many years they would like to issue those bonds. Now, normally to complete a 10-year package, it takes about 12 years to 13 years because year 10 projects don't usually start till the following year. Okay, so if you look at that package, you can see that there is a great deal of capacity to do bonding, but not every single year is level. And so not only will council have to decide what projects are going to be in the package, they're also going to have to decide in what priority. Because obviously sometimes people think when they approve it on August 28th, they expect 81st from Garnett to Aspen to be 5 lanes in 6 months. Well, that's not realistic because I wish it was, but when you're talking $5 million, or if you talk, you know what, the folks in the senior center, they'd like to be doing Zumba in the annex in sometime in 2019. Well, the council's going to not only decide what packages, what get included in the package, what the priorities are. So that's why the input is important. It's not just to say, I want this road widened. I would say you need to tell them how important it is to you so we can look at as a staff and make those recommendations, because obviously on $210 million, something's going to have to wait. Something's going to have to wait to the very end, and we have to go through the process of figuring out what those priorities are. Now, the one thing I will tell you is that there's going to be at least $70 million worth of projects that are not going to make the cut. We will let the community know once council's decided what did not make the cut list. Because what happened the last time was people came to the meetings and they saw something was in the package, and then they thought that it was going to be in the final package and it didn't make it, and then they got upset at the city because it didn't make it. So what I'd like to do and recommend to the council is that once the package is decided, to show those projects, as worthy as they are, that they did not make it. However, if the community continues to grow at a 4.5% or 5% like we've seen, there could be an opportunity for us to come back in year 5 or year 6 and do another no tax package type proposal because of the growth we're having. So that's why if it doesn't make the list, you know what? It'll probably still be around 10 years from now. And so we're trying to be very conservative with our numbers and making sure that there's no increase in year millage for debt service with the city. So once again, let me close out by saying that community input is critical, and we appreciate, and I'm going to turn this back over to the mayor, and after that, we're just going to, as they say, release you to go walk around the stations, talk amongst each other, and then we'll be around till at least 8 o'clock, if need to longer, to answer any questions about the package. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mayor Thurman.
Again, thank you for being here, and I just want to go ahead and tell everyone to get started looking at all the different stations and see what you give us input that what you want to see. So thank you.